Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of Elliott-Astronomy. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I am the host of the show, and I just want to let everybody know I did get a lot of feedback today of the object that we're going to be going for tonight. Imaging something different right now as it's still behind the trees. It is going to be behind the trees until about 12:20 a.m. It might be a little too early to get the Eagle Nebula, as usually I get that between July 1st and July 30th. So at this point, it might be a little too early, as it is still roughly about 15 degrees above the horizon. So shooting it above the muck of the light pollution, and it's going to be a little tough. And waiting that long, I just can't waste a beautiful night like tonight. Looked outside. It is gorgeous outside. Not a cloud in the sky. The haze has pretty much dissipated. I looked at the clear sky chart as of midnight. The seeing is 4 out of 5, and the transparency is 3 out of 5, which is not too bad around here. So I made a game time decision and went after the Veil Nebula. Looking at it here, this part of the sky is actually going pretty well. It's not that horrible. The name of the object that, again, is the Western Veil Nebula. And the category is the NGC 6960. It sits in the sky, and I'm going to pull this up for everybody so you can take a look. Now, where it is in the sky is you have Deneb and Satyr, which are right there, in Cygnus. If you follow Cygnus down, you get to a star of Gaina, and it sits right to the right of it. And it sits right in here, and it's called the Veil Complex. You have the Eastern Veil, the Western Veil, and the Pickering, which is a really, really cool nebula. The other name for the Western Veil is the Witch's Broom. Now, I am going to fit to screen so everybody can take a look. I'm just going to bring this down. And it's not exactly great right now looking at it through hydrogen alpha, but again, when you stack them, it turns out really, really well. If you follow the mouse, you can actually see the nebula, which sits right here. And when you can get about 10 or 15 of these, it'll turn out really, really well. And again, I'm going to be taking the red channel I am shooting tonight. As I said, I put the hydrogen alpha filter on there, and I'll be shooting this in hydrogen alpha. I'm also shooting it with the other camera, with the Orion G3. And I have that one here too. Let me just pull that up. And that one's turning out really well. That's the star right there. It's the bright star in Cygnus. And the star that is right there is called 52 Cygnus. And actually, I'm going to pull that up right here. And I'm going to zoom it in so you can actually see where the star is in the sky. It's actually going to be this one right here. It's 52 Cygni is what it's called. And that's where the nebula would actually sit right here. It actually goes right across 52 Cygni. And the description on that is, let me see, it's at a magnitude of 4.2. So if you have dark adaptation out here, you could see that star. It is very, very, very faint here in Buffalo, but you can see it. And that's where you would look for the veil. If I were to type in NGC 6960, it will show up on here as a supernova. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there you go. So it is on here. So there it is. So that's the Witch's Broom right here. And then you have the Eastern Veil that sits over here, and then you have a bunch of nebulosity between the two of them. The Pickering would be right here. That's the name of it, is one of the ones that sits in the middle. And I will be getting a bunch of these throughout the summer, along with the Pelican, like I did the last couple of images, last couple sessions. And I'll be doing that with a very good part of the sky, as there are just so many things. You got the dumbbell, you got the veil, you got the crescent, you got the Satyr complex, North American Nebula, Pelican Nebula. There's just so many things going on in Cygnus that I just love to get. So there's a lot of good things. And then, of course, later in the summer, I will be going after the Eagle, the Omega, Lagoon, Trifid, and I'll be doing all of those in hydrogen alpha. And this is what it looks like right now with the stack. I have 7 stacked right now. I'm doing 3-minute images on the Orion G3. And right now we're at 21 minutes total, and it's stacked every single one of them. And so it's a preliminary stack, so you can get an idea as it's live, so you can see each image being stacked one on top of the other. And you can definitely see the nebulosity, which is right here. And it goes, again, right through 52 Cygni. It goes right across it, and you can actually see the red and the blue, and they're like little, like a veil, pretty much. And you could see it, and it is really cool. Now, again, this is a small sensor, so I tried to center the really cool part on here, and then it actually goes down here. So I can move the mount so I can get the bottom and the top, so that way I can stitch them together, and that way it'll look really cool. I'll probably get about an hour of this, then move the camera, and then get another hour, and then stitch it, and then get the finalized image. So this one's looking really great. And for this one, we're still in great shape. Let me zoom in here so everybody can take a look. There's a tiny bit of drift at 6 minutes, but it's not too bad. Guiding is going pretty well. I really can't complain at 6 minutes with this. I tried to get it as aligned as I possibly could. I got out here at about 8 minutes to 11, as that's when Polaris was sitting right on top of that circle. And that's why I want to try to get it as aligned as I possibly could. So not bad. This one should be done in a few minutes here. And then we could take a look and see how much the stars moved over the last 6 minutes. Not bad. The stars didn't move much at all. It actually evened out a little bit. And we're looking at 1.5 magnification. So that is really not bad at all. And this is definitely a rich area of stars, which is really cool. And you could definitely see the nebulosity right here, which is really neat. And I'm going to zoom it out just a little bit to 1 time so you can really see where the nebulosity is compared to where the stars are. Right there. And you can see that it comes to a point here and it goes down and around, and there's like a little spike right here, which is really cool. And then it goes down and it's like a veil at the bottom. So a really cool image. I really liked imaging this one in the past. The last time I imaged this was a couple years ago, and it actually turned out really well. And I'm actually going to pull that up for everybody too, so that way everybody can see what it looks like. Here is my website, as everybody can take a look at it and see. I have all the episodes that are listed on here, so everybody can actually take a look. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. I'll be adding episode 7 and also tonight's episode, which is episode 8, and then everybody can take a look at that. I've been working on this site since 2012, so this is the 4th year that I've been, the 5th year I've been doing this website, and have added all the images, or most of them, the good ones, over the last 4 years, and everybody can take a look at it and just go around. I have things on the bottom here, which is really cool. You can use for just check your birthday, how old you are on each planet, which is really neat. You can also go in and check to see how much you weigh on each planet, and you can type it in, which is really cool. I calculated everything on there, so it's all calculation on there. I did put the clear sky chart on here for this area, for where I am, and you can see that tonight and tomorrow night are pretty good. Where we stand right now is right there. So transparency is great. Seeing is getting better. So it changed. It was flipped before, but it's still not bad for this area. The moon has set, so there's no moon, but I'm shooting in hydrogen alpha anyways, so it really doesn't matter. Where I go, and I'm in the midst of working on it right now for the objects, for the Messier and other objects. I'm in the midst of trying to get a table, an expandable table, so I'm trying to get this all taken care of. So I overlapped it, but I'm working on it in HTML, and I will have this all set in color and everything over the next coming weeks. The Western Veil, as I was talking about before, this is the Western Veil that I took back in 2013. Actually coming pretty close to the 3-year anniversary of when I last got it. So pretty close. I took this with my Celestron 6-inch reflector, and I used the Canon T3i modified with a CLS clip filter and also the CG4 tracking mount, which I no longer have. Now, this was only taken at 1 minute exposures 28 times for 28 minutes. Tonight, I'm actually shooting at 6-minute images, and I'll probably take about 11 or 12. So we'll be able to get between an hour and 10 minutes or so, or hour and 12 minutes, depending on how many I can get tonight. And the field of view will be a lot bigger, as you can see, because it was the 6-inch. I'm actually using the 3-inch refractor. So the other one was the Eastern Veil. And this one was one of the most exposed images I've ever taken, the most time I've ever taken on an image ever. I spent a lot of time with this, and it turned out really well. Again, I used the 6-inch reflector with this. I shot it at just under 4 minutes and got 20 exposures for 73 minutes, which is really nice, and used the Canon T3i modified with the CLS flip filter, and used the CG5, which is the same mount that I have now. So it is a really cool image. You can definitely see the wisps and all the way up to the very top. I combined it with a different camera at that time. I was running with 2 cameras, the T3i modified and then also the T3 unmodified, and got about 128 minutes, so just a little bit over 2 hours of total exposure time between the 2 cameras, and combined the 2 images together to get the red and the blue, and it turned out really well. It was about a 3-week span between the 2 of them, and processed the image, and it looked really, really cool, as this was one of the last and final images I took before I switched over to CCD. So I'll be getting this one over the course of the summer with the QHY and also the Orion G3. So this has all the images that I've taken, the best images, of course, of everything that I have here, including the dumbbell, the ring, eagle, the lagoon, the Trifid, and yes, there's a few things on here that are blocked. I will be getting this fixed, and everything will be getting together. But everybody can take a look at this. It's elliott-astronomy.com, and you can just go right to the website, and you can take a look at it. I have the photos. One of the greatest things for new and upcoming astronomers is called the Astro Basics. And Astro Basics, I have 4 things on there. I will be going over a few more things in time. Going the Distance is the very first one, which is a really nice introduction of astronomy, distance, how to calculate AUs, everything. You have Explaining Magnitude, which was the issue 2, and shows everything on here for what is magnitude, how bright certain things are, what is the dimmest thing you could see out there, expanding our solar system, what is a dwarf planet, what can you actually classify as a planet, and there are certain things on here that you can actually take a look and actually look at each dwarf planet, when they were classified as a dwarf and when they were discovered and how they got their name. And then explaining light pollution is one of the biggest things that I like to talk about with a lot of people, is kind of like what I was talking about with the first episode of the Bortle scale. And this goes in a little bit in detail and a little bit of depth of what each classification is of white, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, gray, and black. And everybody can take a look at that, and it's an explanation by numbers, as I took a little snapshot of Phoenix, Arizona, as everybody could take a look and see what Phoenix looks like. And you can see how it's super, super white, which means you can't see anything. But the farther you go away from a city, the darker it gets. And how they classify it as artificial brightness versus natural brightness. The natural brightness, if you're at 0%, that means there is no light at all, no man-made light anywhere, and it is going to be a nirvana outside. The more man-made lights out there, the less you're going to see in the sky. So one of the best sites I've ever seen was this right here. It's Dark Sky Finder. The website I will post on Facebook, and everybody can take a look at that. You can actually type in your address, and you can actually see where your light pollution is in your area, which is one of the best sites I've ever seen. And it's kind of like Google Maps, and you can see everything, which is really cool. So this is just a little bit of a briefing on my website, which is really cool. I do have all the planets up at the top. I do have pictures of every single planet on here. Saturn, I loved taking images of Saturn, as you can see here. That was one of the best images I've taken. And then you can see dating back in time of the very first time I ever got Saturn. There's little details of how the orbit, magnitude, distance from the Earth, and so on. So you can see everything on there. And you could also see the sun. I also take images of the sun with the sunspots, so you can see everything with that. And also you could take pictures. I've taken pictures of the moon, which is really neat. And I took some really, really nice images of the moon with a Kodak Easy Share point and shoot camera. And these were taken on my Mean ETX 90, and these were taken back in 2012. So, and then there's all the processed images on here, which is really cool. So it's really neat. And I have a bunch of things on here, which I tried to get it down to as low as possible, as I had a lot of pages on here. So I moved this down as best as possible. So that is the website in a nutshell, which is really cool. So let's go back to the image and take a look and see what we got and how guiding is going. It's definitely settling back down. Stars still aren't too bad looking at this here. It is pretty good. I want to look at the stacked image here. That is still running really, really well. Stars are definitely looking really good too. So now we're up to 12 images and 36 minutes. So we are doing really well. This is going to turn out really good with the darks, the flats, and the biases. This is going to be a really awesome image. And I'm going to also put more into this. These are just solely, it's amazing that these are only 3-minute exposures. I'm going to try to see if I can get 5 minutes on these and then stitch them together and get a finalized image. So yeah, it's looking really good. So I'm going to end the broadcast. I want to thank everybody for watching and for joining me tonight. As I said, tomorrow is looking great, just like tonight. So I'm going to try and stay up as late as I can to try to get the Eagle, as I do apologize, as it's just not up yet, and it's 12:30 now. It's probably just getting past the trees now, but as I said, I didn't want to waste a beautiful night like this and not get anything. So it's going to turn out to be really well. I will post the image on Facebook. I will also post the image on Google+. But other than that, we're looking great. So again, I'm going to end the broadcast. I want to thank everybody for watching and have a great night. Bye.